All right, we're going to work on scale, scale factor, scale drawings, all of that information. So let's just start. You really need to pay attention to what's being asked. So what is a scale? A scale is something like you find at the bottom of a map that says for every 1 inch it equals 8 miles in reality. So it says that two towns are 3¼ inches apart on the map. What is the actual distance of the two towns? Well, it's just like we were doing. I have inches over miles, inches over miles. I have 1 inch over 8 miles, and I have 3¼ inch over how many miles? So really, cross multiply is all you need to do. So you're just multiplying 8 times 3¼ and you get 26. So there's 26 miles between the two towns. So it's pretty easy. Just pay attention to the directions, okay? Because things are going to change slightly. Same with this one, but there's a different question. So if you go back to this one, it's asking what is the distance between the two towns. If I go to this one, it says what is the scale factor. Scale factor is use the scale to find the fraction. Okay? And remember, when we were introducing ratios and we were making them into fractions, there's no words. So there's not going to be any words on this. So I'm taking the scale, see it says to use the scale, and I'm going to write 1 inch over 8 miles. And then I'm going to remind you that you can't simplify and you have to be able to cancel the words out, so you need to convert. There's 5,280 feet in a mile. So let's just do that first. So I have 1 inch over, let's do 8 times 5,280. So I get 42,240 feet. Okay, not done. I have to be in inches over inches. So now I have 1 inch over 12 inches in a foot. So do that times 12. I have 506,880 inches. Now scale factor, cross out the words, and your fraction is all you need. So scale factor, you're using the scale, simplifying it to a fraction. You can't simplify a fraction unless you can cancel the words. You can't cancel the words if the units are different. And I have inches and miles. So first I converted it to feet, then I converted it to inches, and then I was able to cross the words out. And so my scale factor says it is 1 over 506,880 times smaller is what it's saying. Okay, so this one is fine. It wants the actual height. That's where you set up your proportion. This one says use the scale to find a fraction. Okay, so this one, I'm using the scale and I'm going to convert this to be inches over inches. So I'm going to multiply this by 12 and get 48 inches. Cancel out the words, and there you have it. It's 1/48 the size. This one says use the information, set up a proportion, cross multiply and divide to find your missing piece. 2 75/100 times 4 is 11. And you don't need to do divided by 1. So the actual height is 11 feet. So pay attention to the two questions and how they're different. One is looking for an actual height information where you need to set up a proportion. The other is telling you to take and focus on the scale only and turn it into a fraction. Okay? A model car is 4 inches long. The actual car is 12 feet long. What is the scale? So this time I'm not giving you the scale. Whereas these, notice, the scale was always given. So now you're going to figure out what the scale is. So everything is set up as a proportion except scale factor. So I'm going to do inches over feet, inches over feet. You get to assume something here. You will always assume, as we're working on this section, that this will be 1, that your scale will always be 1 inch equals something, and then whatever unit it is, but it's always going to be 1 inch first, okay? Then this information's in your story. It's 4 inches and 12. So cross multiply, 1 times 12 is 12, divided by 4 is 3. So for every 1 inch, that equals 3 feet. So again, notice it's a proportion. Everything's a proportion except scale factor. Scale factor is simplifying the fraction and getting rid of the words. For your scale, you need to write it in a scale format. This is not scale format. This is finding the information and then take this information and write it like that. Okay, so let's do that again. So set up your proportion. You get to assume 1 inch. You're looking for this right here. You have 12 inches over here and 42 feet right here. Do you cross multiply and then divide? And you get 3.5. So you rewrite it. 1 inch is equal to 3.5 feet. So for every 1 inch in your model, that equals 3.5 feet in reality. And that's your scale. Sheila is designing a patio that is 16 feet long and 14 feet wide. Make a scale drawing. You're not going to need to do the drawing for me, but you do need to find the length and the width of the model. So set up your proportion because, like I said to you before, every single thing is a proportion except scale factor. So I'm going to take my scale first, 1/2 inch over 4 feet. And then I'm going to go over here and write inches over feet. And then I'm going to do it again for my width. I have inches over feet, inches over feet, 1/2 inch for every 4 feet. Okay, so now I go back to here and go, all right, it's 16 feet long, that's the length, and it's 14 feet wide, that's the width. So now all I have to do is cross multiply and divide. So 5/10 times 16 divided by 4 is 2. So the length is equal to 2 inches. And the width is equal to 1/2 times 14 divided by 4, which you could do in your head, is 1 3/4 of an inch. There you go. So that's all you need to do in your homework. You don't actually need to do the scale drawing because you won't have the paper to do it. So just find the length and the width for me. It's going to show you a drawing here, so just so you know. Okay, you can do the same thing. I'll do it for you though. I don't like everyone doing it. Okay. So I have my length. It's asked for a scale drawing. As soon as it asks for a scale drawing, you know you have to set up your proportions. You use your scale factor, 5 inch, 4 feet. inch over feet, inches over feet. Go back to your story, and it's 18 feet long and 14 feet wide. And then do your math again. So 5/10 times 18 divided by 4 is 2 1/4 of an inch. And then 5/10 times 14 divided by 4. Wait, didn't we? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they used that same one in the last one, didn't they? So there you go. That's finding the length and the width. So you could do a drawing if I asked you to. And that's it. So make sure the biggest thing to remember is that you are always setting up a proportion unless it's scale factor. Scale factor, you're just writing it as a fraction with the words, converting the words to be the same units, and then crossing the words out and giving me the fraction in simplest form.